Glad you're with us for another Meet the Candidates edition of Know Before You Vote. With us is Dr. and Senator Richard Briggs. Good to have you with us. Good to see you again.
I'm glad to be here.
You're a veteran now of political office. You started in county commission. You moved to the state legislature. Why do you want to stay?
You know, that's really a good question because I know a lot of people are asking me this as I go around on my door-to-door. You know, John, we've done some really good things in the state of Tennessee. We now have it where we have no state income tax, and that's in the state constitution. It's going to soon be in the state constitution where we can never have a state property tax. We have the lowest debt per capita of any state in the country. And in the last 15 years, Tennessee has gone almost dead last in education. And in this National Assessment of Educational Progress that the fourth and eighth graders took just last December, our fourth graders in math are now in the top 13, top 12, top 11 of all states in the country, and everything that they tested in, which is math and reading. Our eighth graders and our fourth graders, we're in the top 20 now. So we've made a lot of educational process. So why do I want to stay in spite of all the good things that's happening in Tennessee? And it's not just my opinion. Look at all the people moving here. It's we still have some problems. And in particular, it's things like transportation, infrastructure, and some of those that we're now going to have to address, because a lot of Tennessee's economic success is the fact that we're centrally located within a day's drive of something like 70% of the U.S. population. We're going to have to address now and find a way to pay for our transportation infrastructure. And there's other issues, too.
Well, let's start at transportation and infrastructure because it is such a timely issue. And your colleague, Senator Massey, has talked about rethinking the pay-as-you-go model that Tennessee has. And for our viewers who don't know, the state does not do a project that it can't pay for. It doesn't bond road projects. Do you think that is worth revisiting and looking at other ways of getting things done?
Not only is it something we should revisit, we are. Just for the past year, I've been on TASER, and these are really the policy experts. It's nonpartisan. It's a state agency that takes a lot of these problems. It looks at the different ways that we can handle them and manage them, and we've looked at that specifically. We had a meeting about 2 weeks ago with the preliminary report on how we're going to finance our transportation infrastructure needs, and I think that we're absolutely going to have to look at very judiciously now bonding money. We have a AAA plus rating. What good does it do to have a great rating if you don't take advantage of that? There's going to be other things we can look at, some of the private-public partnerships. We can look at whether or not we want to index the gas tax to what it actually costs rather than by the gallon. Quite frankly, I wish we wouldn't do that. I don't think we need to. But there's other taxes that we can put on things like Uber and some of those to also raise money. There's not going to be one single solution, but it's going to be a series of those that we'll need to look at.
Your background is healthcare.
Yes.
You were a surgeon for years, a heart surgeon. Explain the state of healthcare in Tennessee, because I know that's been a huge concern of yours from the start.
You know, and that's another reason why I want to run again, because we still have a long way to go on health care. We only have 2 physicians in the Senate, and I've tried to be very active on the things that I can add to because of my professional life as a physician. The largest part of the Tennessee budget, nearly 50%, is Medicaid. A lot of issues right there. Right here in Knox County, perhaps the number one challenge after our infrastructure needs deals with getting a major inpatient mental health facility for East Tennessee in a central location, which Knoxville is. You look at some of the cultural war issues, whether it's abortion, whether it's transgender care, whether it's the opiate crisis, whether it's mental health, whether it's drug rehabilitation. Those are all some of our most serious problems, but they all have a medical basis. I look at my role of being someone that is a medical person, that is a physician, and I try to my colleagues give them the facts as best we know them through medical science. Then, of course, they have to make judgments when these bills come up on how they're going to vote. But I think that, and I think they would agree, that that's a very critical and crucial role that's unique for me in the state Senate.
Another issue that the legislature has dealt with the last couple of years is expanding vouchers.
Yeah.
And these are the education scholarships of about $7,000 that use public money to pay for private school tuition. You have been a critic of that. Where is that program going from here?
One of the things that we will have to look at, the initial program in 2025 was 20,000 vouchers that were out there. There was a bigger demand than what there was for those 20,000. Governor Lee wanted to add another 20,000 this year, but because of some of the cost, we limited those to 15,000. It's not that I'm completely opposed to the vouchers, but it's really the way that we've done it. For some of our children that are in failing schools, I would not blame a parent one bit if they were able to use the vouchers to go to a better school. But unfortunately, that's not who's really using the vouchers. They're being used primarily by families where the children are already in private schools. And that's one issue. Another issue with the vouchers, I think we do need to put some requirements on what the schools are teaching. It's very important that they know American government, American history. Quite frankly, I wish they would take the same TCAPs that our public school kids
so
take.
We can measure that progress.
So are we getting our money's worth? Are they learning what they're supposed to? And of course, we passed a bill this year that said they didn't have to do it. And I'm not so sure that the reason we did that is the original program that was Davidson and Shelby counties. Quite frankly, the results were abysmal.
They did not perform as well as their public school peers.
In the initial test, only 11% met the state standard, whereas in the public schools, and this is a one-to-one cohort comparison, it was 40%. Now 40% still isn't good enough, but they've even gotten better in this past year. But we don't know in the private schools any longer because they're not going to be tested on the same test.
We've talked about healthcare, we've talked about transportation, we've talked about education. When you're knocking on doors in the campaign, what are the people in your district saying is most important to them?
I tell you again and again and again, it's transportation. All you've got to do is go out there and look at that I-40, I-75 corridor between the Split and Interstate 640, and it's a parking lot, particularly during rush hour, and sometimes it's a parking lot not during rush hour. So almost everyone mentions that. The other thing, and it's going to be a more difficult issue for us to handle at the state legislature, deals with inflation, affordability of just what you need to live on, whether it's food, gasoline, things like that. We're hearing an awful lot about that. We're not hearing as much as I did 4 years ago on the immigration. I think the fact that we've closed it off at the border and the federal government has done a pretty good job at least getting the people who are felons and breaking our laws off the streets. Not hearing as much about that as we did 4 years ago, where that was a major issue also. Always you're going to have education, always you're going to have jobs, are going to be major issues, but right now it primarily deals with the traffic congestion and transportation problems, in particular on the interstates.
You're a public official. Criticism goes with the game. Is there any public criticism that you think has been unfair in this campaign?
I really don't. We are hearing from some people that our Tennessee legislature is not conservative enough. And I really beg to differ. In the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm talking about some of these cultural issues that come up. We call those the cultural wars. We have one of the strictest abortion laws in the country. That's all been in the last 5 years. We really followed very closely President Trump's. What he wanted as his agenda. We didn't do everything, but on immigration, should not be something that we're not conservative enough. The American Conservative Union, which that's CPAC that we always see the candidates going to when presidential years come up, they give Tennessee the most conservative rating in the country. But one of the things, in spite of all of that I think Tennessee has done, we've maintained a large degree of common sense. And I can tell you, I am so proud to be a Tennessean. We have a $2.2 billion rainy day fund. All these other states don't do it. We have no state income tax. Our kids, when they graduate from high school, can go to a community college. It doesn't matter if you're Bill Haslam's grandkids. They can go 2 years free to a community college. Randy Boyd is president of the University of Tennessee. If your family makes less than $70,000, they can go to UT tuition free. The bottom line is there is a lot of really good things happening in Tennessee. We're conservative. We are a Republican supermajority, but we've maintained, I think, a large degree of common sense that some of the states haven't.
Dr. Briggs, always appreciate your time. Thanks so much, and best of luck on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much, John.
You continue to watch our Know Before You Vote candidate interviews right here on the Inside Tennessee page and others.